A birthday house party with a downfall.
Okay, full collapse, first floor into the basement. Still confirming if everybody's out.
The chaos in Aurora after a home's floor collapses under the weight of dozens of uninvited guests.
Plus, picking up the pieces after a break-in.
It does not feel good. You feel, violated.
The shocking surveillance of armed thieves crashing into a Colorado car dealership and what's becoming a disturbing crime trend.
And students at Stanley Lake High School in mourning as we learn more about a tragic crash that claimed 5 lives.
It's like every parent's worst nightmare.
How a community is coming together to remember those lost too soon.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jacqueline Allen.
And I'm Brian Wang. Tonight's top story, an out-of-control house party in Arapahoe County ends with a floor collapsing and 3 teenagers injured.
These images of chaos are all over social media. Denver 7's Ivan Rodriguez joins us live. And Ivan, deputies are saying more than 100 people showed up there last night.
South Metro Fire says between 100 to 150 people were at this party when a portion of the first floor collapsed into the basement. These are some of the images from that house party. You can see how that floor completely caves in and dozens of people are trying to climb their way out. Denver 7 also spoke with a relative of the homeowner who says it was a birthday party where uninvited guests showed up and damaged the home. Here's a glimpse of what first responders faced when they arrived.
Yeah, I copy that. We got a full collapse of the basement. Got reports of 5 unconscious parties still in the basement. Medic 17 has a walk-up patient that they're expecting, so that's going to make a total of 3 patients.
Neighbors who live on East Princeton Place in Arapahoe County tell me early Saturday night they started seeing a rush of cars come into the neighborhood. Since it was still relatively early, they tell me they weren't too concerned, especially because there wasn't much noise. It wasn't until around 9:30 that neighbors tell me they started seeing fire trucks and police officers on their block and were worried something serious had happened.
You're worried it's more of a shooting going on or something like that, because my wife watched people running. I think somebody just posted the happy birthday on Instagram or something, and everybody just showed up. Yeah, not responsible.
The collapsed floor also caused a gas leak, but crews were able to quickly shut off that line. In total, there were 3 teenagers injured, 1 with serious injuries. A family member also tells us the home has been in the family for 20 years and they're devastated by the incident. Jacqueline?
All right, thank you, Ivan. That video was incredible. Now to the latest in the Ukraine-Russia crisis. The Ukrainian government says since Russia invaded, at least 352 civilians have died, 14 of those children. Talks between the two countries are set for tomorrow, but Ukraine's leader is not optimistic. The U.S. Embassy in Moscow is urging U.S. citizens to leave Russia while they can still get a commercial flight out. The EU and Canada are closing their airspace to Russian planes. New satellite images show a large convoy of Russian forces moving in the direction of Ukraine's capital. Citizens arming themselves to fend off the Russians as the majority of Kyiv's 2.5 million residents remain in place. The international backlash against Russia does keep growing. The EU is banning all transactions from Russia's central bank and freezing its assets. And the United Nations Security Council has voted to hold a special session of the UN General Assembly on Monday.
All right, back here at home, locals rallied for Ukraine on the steps of the Colorado Capitol today as the entire world watches the conflict.
Denver 7's Rob Harris spoke to some of the people joining this global movement for peace.
Yeah, and guys, it's that global aspect that really hit home for most of the people that I talked to at this rally today, because we're seeing these demonstrations around the world, even in Russia, where protesters are risking being arrested and jailed just so they can send the message to the world that they do not stand behind what their leader is doing to Ukraine right now. Here in Denver, I talked to a lot of people at this rally, native-born Americans, a man from Latin America, a man from Iran, and a woman from Ukraine. She's protesting here in Denver, but at the same time, she's thinking about her family as they try to stay safe in her home country.
Just stop the war. Stop the war. I'm laughing right now, but it's just because it's been a very tough few days because people are getting hurt. Yeah, and Ukraine cannot stop fighting because we're gonna lose Ukraine.
Her name is Maria. She told me that she spoke to her family today, and obviously they're scared because they're seeing bombs and tanks in their city, but they are okay, so that is some good news, at least for now. Maria says she is taking comfort, though, in the fact that so many of her fellow Coloradoans and people around the world are standing up in solidarity with her home country of Ukraine. For Denver 7, I'm Rob Harris.
All right, Rob, thank you, and welcome to the team. A car dealership is thousands of dollars in the hole after armed thieves broke in last night. The incident was all caught on camera.
And this adds to the growing number of stolen cars all across the state. As Denver 7's Sloan Dickey reports, Colorado has become a hotbed for this type of crime trend.
This is the carnage, what's left.
The outside of Red's Auto and Truck in Longmont may be vandalized.
You can see here, they drove through the glass door.
But it's what's on the inside that the thieves were after.
The 2021 Dodge Durango Hellcat, limited production, one of about 3,000 ever made.
All caught on security camera.
Right there. See him literally back right up to it and just use the bed of the truck to smash through.
Brazen thieves smashing the showroom garage.
If you'll notice, when he runs in, it appears that he's holding a handgun in his right hand.
They didn't get what they were after, but they did heavily damage a Lexus that was abandoned across the street.
It means I can't sell this vehicle. My salesman can't sell this vehicle. They can't earn a commission. I have to repair the vehicle. It could be off the market for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, pending availability of parts.
Michael Wildham says he is not alone. Crimes like this are more common than ever here. According to the National Insurance Crime Bureau, Colorado has risen to the top 5 hottest states for auto theft in the country.
Just in the last couple of weeks, I've had 3 members hit for close to $1 million. Worth of damages.
David Cardella of the Colorado Independent Automobiler Dealers Association says he's petitioning the state to take action against a growing problem.
People come in, they steal these vehicles. Law enforcement is not allowed to pursue them because they're a theft of property.
It took 17 minutes for sheriffs to respond to Red's Truck and Auto.
You'll see they literally drive off, and 3 seconds later, Weld County Sheriff is right there.
After the thieves took off, they were not allowed to chase them down.
That deputy has to turn off his lights, resume normal speed, and let them get away.
Though the damage will cost his dealership thousands of dollars, Michael is glad his inventory is mostly safe.
We're definitely looking at beefing up security and maybe even paying for nighttime patrols, things like that.
But he wonders when something like this will happen again. Sloan Dickey, Denver 7.
That is crazy. All right, we want to take a closer look at the rising trend of car thefts right here in our area. According to a report from the Metropolitan Auto Theft Task Force, last year, the Denver metro area had an average of 75 vehicles stolen per day. In 2019, the average was 36, and in 2020, it had increased to 55. Vehicles stolen in 2021 made an economic impact of more than $243 million here in the Denver metro area.
All right, for some time now, we've brought you the stories of many victims who had their cars stolen. Those victims would tell us they'd file a police report and then play the waiting game for answers. But one victim who had their car stolen yesterday out of Adams County took matters into their own hands and actually tracked down their vehicle to this property right here off of Highway 2 in Commerce City. Turns out their stolen car wasn't the only one there. According to the Adams County Sheriff's Office, deputies discovered 16 stolen vehicles at that property. The Sheriff's Office says the property is subleased by more than 10 mechanics and truckers. Deputies believe more than one organized group may be responsible for the stolen cars and use the property for storage.
We are finding out more tonight about the tragic Commerce City crash that claimed 5 lives this weekend. Tonight, students at Jeffco schools are mourning after learning several Stanley Lake High School students died in that crash. A memorial with flowers and stuffed animals is growing now at the intersection of Highway 85 and 112th. Police say 5 people died in the crash Friday evening after 2 SUVs collided. 3 people survived, including 15-year-old Anaya Whitehorn. She is in ICU with brain and spinal injuries, 2 broken legs and broken ribs. Her grandfather calls it a miracle she survived, and they're still praying she makes it.
We're lucky that Anaya lived through this. There are other family members right now dealing with funeral arrangements, and I can't imagine what they're going through right now.
Jeffco Schools announced today crisis teams will be at Stanley Lake High School for students and staff. Several families involved do have some GoFundMe accounts, so we've linked those on thedenverchannel.com. Coming up, red tape in the rebuilding process.
We're just trying to stabilize our lives.
Why Marshall Fire victims say city council members are making a bad situation even worse.
And an animal cruelty bust. We have exclusive footage showing the moments deputies save puppies being held in an Arapahoe County home.